Hi, everybody. Mike Beer here, taking a look at some three-year-old action on Saturday at Turfway Park, race number 11. At Turfway is going to be the Jeff Ruby Stakes. It's a grade 3 race for these three-year-olds, a $250,000 purse as they go 9 furlongs on the synthetic surface there at Turfway Park. Potentially some Derby horses in here. We'll see how that all plays out. I don't know if this is really a Derby prep race, but it's certainly an interesting field, and it's a big field as well. 11 three-year-olds here going to try the 9 furlongs on synthetic. Let's start off looking at the Timeform US pace projector for the Jeff Ruby Stakes. In a big field like this, I don't think it's that surprising that they are projecting this pace to be fast. You have some horses stretching out in distance. The number 2, Tomatodo, is projected to make the lead. This horse going out for Steve Asmussen, who, and he hasn't run poorly in any of his races. 2 on turf, 2 on synthetic. He has shown some speed. He's got a lot of ground to make up on the morning line favorite in this race, Invader, who beat him pretty handily last time in a local prep for this race. But it's a trainer change for this horse to Asmussen. Maybe he makes the front in this race. He's just going to have to do a lot better. Number 7, Victory Boulevard, shipping in from New York on a 3-race winning streak, stretching out in distance and trying synthetic for the first time, is also projected to be up close. We'll see if he's good enough and can keep his winning streak going. Let's touch on some of the major contenders in this race. We'll start off with number 3, Fancy Liquor. This is for Michael Maker, a 3-year-old who's only run once so far, that on turf down at Gulfstream Park. And we have a replay of his stretch run as he won his debut to take a look at here. This horse ran pretty well in this race. He easily made the early lead in this spot. He cut the pace the entire way. And then when he was challenged for it coming to the stretch, he dug in very gamely. He had to really fight to win this race. The horse that's making a big run at him, Counterstrike, was also a first-time starter. And we're not going to have the head-on replay for you to look at, but if you watch the head-on, Fancy Liquor really came out a couple of times and bumped Counterstrike at the end. The stewards looked at it. They made no change, and Fancy Liquor was left up as the winner. He ran well. He earned an 82 buyer. Now he's going to stretch out and switch surfaces. I do think he's one of the contenders in this race, but I do think he also has to improve in here, and he's going to have to do it most likely without the early lead. We'll see how, if any one of those things works against him in here. Number 5 is an interesting contender for Danny Gargan. That's Myanamoi, a horse who has only raced on turf so far for Gargan, but has looked pretty good. Debuted at Saratoga, looked like he really needed that race when finishing 5th behind Structor, who's obviously a very good horse for Chad Brown. Got a little layoff after that race. He came back at Aqueduct in December, and he broke his maiden that day, and he broke it pretty easily. Back off the pace early, made a pretty early move to get into range of the leaders, and I like the way that he finished in that race. He still looked a little bit green to me in that spot, but he was running right through the wire. I thought he ran well. They tried the Dania Beach last time at Gulfstream. He finished a very close 4th in that race. He was taken back to last from the start. He was wide on the turn. And he just kept racing on through the stretch. This horse has a lot of potential, a lot of upside. Doesn't feel like the distance is going to be a problem for Myanamoi. That's a horse that I could use in this race. Number 6 is Halo again for Steve Asmussen. Made a winning debut sprinting on the dirt at Churchill Downs. That race didn't come up fast, but he looked like a horse who was just getting started that day. I really liked that performance from him. His second start, Asmussen shipped him up to Woodbine. He went this distance in just his second career start as a 2-year-old. On the synthetic surface at Woodbine, and he won the Coronation Futurity. I thought he ran pretty well that day. The trip was really a good one for him. He just sat right in behind the lead the entire way. He was working pretty hard to keep up with that pace around the turn, but he hung in there and he got through on the rail in the stretch. It was a game victory. He got up by a head. They tried the Lecomte last time. He was no factor in that race. This is a better spot for him. It's not, the competition's not as tough. He handles the surface. The distance is no problem for this horse. His pedigree suggested he's going to be okay going long. There's a lot to like about Halo. Again, in my opinion, he's 8-1 on the morning line. We talked a little about the number 7, Victory Boulevard. They have him as a pace factor. I can see that he's stretching out for the first time, and I'm not going to knock his current form. He's 3 for 3 already in 2020. Mike Maker claimed him and stepped him up a little bit last time. He got into a 4-horse field at Aqueduct. He came from last, and he ran that field right over. He is stretching way out here and stepping way out in distance. So we'll see how he handles all of those things. The 8 is Finnick the Fierce. His form's okay. They tried a couple of Derby preps already with him down at the fairgrounds over the winter. Lecomte, he was 4th. The Risen Star, he was 7th. the Kentucky Jockey Club prior to that, in his final start as a 2-year-old, he was a very close second over a wet track. I thought he ran okay in that race. I do think he has to improve. He doesn't have a lot of speed. He is going to have to catch some pace to close into. The 2 favorites in this race, and I believe the 2 horses to beat, are drawn to the 2 outside posts. So we'll see if that affects these horses at all. The 11 Invader is the slight morning line favorite at 3-1 for Wesley Ward, a $500,000 purchase with some pedigree. It just took him a while. He didn't really run that well. Wesley started him out on turf. He just didn't run that well in his first 3 starts. Maybe ran a little bit better at Churchill in start number 4, but he still couldn't get it done. His form has picked up since they switched over to the synthetic surface at Turfway Park for his last 2 starts. He broke his maiden by the length of the stretch. The first time on this surface, going a mile as a very slight favorite. He only earned a 69 buyer, but he just blew that field away. And they came back last time in the local prep for this, the Battaglia, and he won very easily again, this time with a buyer that jumped up to an 81. He has really good tactical speed. The distance is really not supposed to get him beat. He just makes a lot of sense in this race. You're probably not going to get a great price on him, but he's just a horse that I think you have to take seriously. And here, the 12 is Field Pass, another entrant for Mike Maker. He's been mostly a turf horse so far in his career. They tried dirt once. It didn't work out for him. On turf, he's actually pretty good, though. He has won twice, including his most recent start in the Dania Beach. We can look at the replay of the Dania Beach right now, the stretch run of it. Anyway, this horse got a good trip in this race, rating, back off the pace, saving ground the entire way. I just like the way that he held his position. He never got out to the clear, but he always kept himself in the race. And then when he got a seam very late, he angled to the inside. He got room between the leaders very late in the game, and he surged up to prevail. A really good effort, I thought, for him just to get up and win that race. I don't know how much I love the field for the Dania Beach, but he got it done in there. Distance is okay for this horse. I suspect he'll handle synthetic, although you don't know it until they try it. Irad Ortiz is going to come in and ride this horse. I don't know. I think he makes a lot of sense. I would use him. I would use Invader, who is, the morning line favorite and feels like at least slightly the horse to beat. But I'm going to, take a little shot against these 2 horses as we put up my picks for the race. And I'm going to put the 6 Halo again on top. He's going to have to get faster to beat this field. But I liked his first 2 starts quite a bit. He's already won over this distance. He handled synthetic just fine. He's going to get a good trip in this race, I think. And he's just a really good price. So if he can take a step forward for Steve Asmussen, I think he's got a real shot in this race. I put the 6 Halo again on top. I went 6, 11, 12, and 5 in the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park. It's race number 11 on Saturday. The approximate post time is 6:42 Eastern time. Good luck.